Hello, welcome to another episode of Namtaro Talks. This topic was a bit more of the spur of the moment. Yeah, I currently am running in the morning, and believe it or not, sometimes I get ideas when I run. Even though I may be listening to podcasts or audiobooks at the time, ideas pop in my head every now and then. This episode will be mainly two ideas, and if it goes overboard, like it usually does, I might split it into two episodes again. The topics are That Is Not a Man and Make America Better. Two topics are kind of related and may kind of apply to the current goings on in our country, if not the world. Yeah, the thing about making this talking series is that I know I put myself out there, and that inevitably makes you kind of realize where I stand on certain topics. There are certain positions that I do take, and I believe I am old enough and have a better understanding to take these positions. It's not even a matter of age, it's a matter of thinking for yourself based on your upbringing and your experiences. Yeah, as you already know, I am a heterosexual male, and as of late, I've been thinking about manhood and what it means to be a man. So it's based on my upbringing, my examples, my role models, male figures in my life, male in I don't know, media, male in stories, male in fiction, male in nonfiction, and sometimes it pulls you in many different directions, and it could get a bit convoluted. And if that's the case for me, I can't imagine for I don't know, males in their early 20s or teenage males or kids or boys. Okay, I know there are many videos out there and many other people to follow who talk about or have their own definition of what being a man is, what it means to be male. This would not be one of those videos. Yeah, and I'm not talking about some red pill manosphere BS. And what I don't want to get into all that other gender stuff like male or non-binary male or trans male, like you go from a woman to a man. Like, I am not talking about all that right now. I am more referring to a man's standing, character, place in society, and identity. And I will head straight to it. We have a shining example for at least the past 8 years and even beyond of what a man should not be. I may inadvertently let his name slip, but I'm very sure that you know who I'm talking about. This guy showcases full manhood and has a chauvinistic attitude. Many people may mistake that as masculinity, that you're empowered, that you're charismatic, that you're supposedly friendly, that you do whatever you want, that you have all this money, that you have a bunch of yes men and women around you, and that pretty much excuses you to literally do anything, say anything without worries of repercussions or consequences. And because of his position and cult following, he has dodged many bullets, literally and figuratively, so far anyway. And his standing emboldens other misguided males to think, oh, that's what a man should be. That's what we should strive for. But there are also many others, hopefully, who know better and want to teach their children that way also. Let's be honest, this man is a narcissist, a liar, he's cruel, he's ignorant, he's misguided, he is corrupt. I probably said liar already, but yeah, he's a liar. That needs to be emphasized. I seen this one post, it says, you wouldn't trust him, you wouldn't want to be friends with him, you wouldn't want, I don't know, your sister to date him, you wouldn't want him teaching your kids or babysitting your kids. And he is definitely not a role model. That you can just be bombastic and lambast whoever whenever you want. That everything is impulsive, acts out on a whim, acts out on feelings rather than established fact. To mention he is hateful and close-minded. The fact that he is an authority figure, it emboldens his followers to think that it's okay to be hateful and close-minded, to be in your own little bubble and have your own little alternative facts and just hate on whatever is other, whatever is different, whatever doesn't fit your narrative, doesn't fit your little tiny worldview. Yeah, this guy blames, he deflects, he doesn't take responsibility, he wants things super simplified for him. Like daily briefings had to be like a few pages or 1 page, summarized from, I don't know, 60 or 100 pages. He thinks there are simple solutions to complicated, nuanced problems. He thinks everything is black and white with little to no gray area. He not only abuses power, but also abuses his constituents, his fellow man, with little to no regard for them. Because he does bad behavior, he excuses bad behavior. He has no honor, no morals, no principles. And I can spend, I don't know, as much time as I want just talking bad about him, but I don't need to. Many people have already done so. They've talked our ears off about what a terrible person he is. And he is terrible, but I don't need to add to the narrative or add to the discourse. My point is, that is not an example of a role model of a man, of who you should strive to be like. That you think you're the only person in this world and all that matters to this world is your own tiny bubble and your own tiny social circle, and there's no community, there's no helping your fellow man, helping your neighbors, thinking of the big picture, thinking of there's a bigger world out there, or whatever bigger world out there is limited to your privileges that you inherently had, that you may not even had to work for or even earn, privileges that many other people may never experience. Another thing about him, he is cowardly. He makes empty threats. He changes his mind all the time. He hides behind his, I don't know, cabinet or advisors, or the legal system, or his cult following fan base. And worst of all, he brings out the worst in people, brings out their deep-seated prejudices and hatred. I understand there are things that frustrate or annoy us about everyday life, but he twists it into, I don't know, a different kind of enemy. Like it's that person's fault, it's that group's fault that your life sucks, that bad things are happening to you. When in reality, he is causing all those problems. Him and his cronies and the people in his class. The people who currently follow him, they're being played. They're being manipulated. Honestly, he is like an abusive father or an abusive partner. And we have no choice but to be stuck in this abusive relationship. Fortunately, there was a sizable amount of people, and due to the current rules of this country, we chose to be in this relationship. Though apparently only 22% of the population actively chose to do so. The rest of us, I am very sure, did not want this. And there are people who are delusional, like, oh, he's in power, he can't be that bad, we'll keep it in control, he learned from the last time. Nope, he definitely learned from the last time. He is much worse this time. Okay, I gotta find a way to stop complaining about him so much, but that is not a man, you know? A man has values, has character, has principles, has things you stand on, have people to protect, have real things to live for. A man is not hedonistic, is not narcissistic, is not selfish. A man has a true purpose, not just does everything on a whim, not cause chaos. A man has order, a man has discipline, a man has went through trials and tribulations and takes it as a learning experience. A man works for things so that he earns it, so that he deserves it, whether it be academically or through education or hands-on crafts or physical activity. A man is stoic, steadfast, strong, brave, but a man also has emotions, understands how to express it constructively, and can be tender and empathetic as needed. A man should be emotionally intelligent, but also curious, willing to learn, willing to try things, willing to be creative. I am not saying I am the ideal man. I am far from it. But just based from my knowledge and experience thus far, I would rather be the things I just described than that guy. Because the things that I describe, at least it's a path forward. It's something worthwhile and true to believe in. It's like a compass, you know, it's a positive direction that points you where you should go in life. And it's a bit more peaceful too. I am very sure my life is not perfect, but I can say with relative confidence that I am more at peace than that guy is. Yes, he's much wealthier than I am, but he has a lot of people who hate him for the right reasons, and I don't blame them. Got people looking over his back. He questions who his true friends are, who his true inner circle is. I'm very sure he doesn't even trust his own family. A man has value. A man contributes. A man builds. What this guy does is destroy. A man should unite. This guy, he divides. He polarizes. His words and actions have literally killed people. to mention torn many families apart and taking away their livelihoods also. And those who follow him, especially those who were younger and impressionable, I say, you deserve better. You don't deserve a criminal. You don't deserve someone that you wouldn't trust around your family and friends. This guy has a reputation for being a cheater, for not paying. Would you do business with him? Honestly, he embodies so many negative qualities and emboldens others to do the same. I'm saying that there are better people out there. There are better paths out there. I'm not saying that person or that path is me. Far from it. Just saying, strive for something better and believe in something better than that dude. And his slogan, it's so cheap, it's so hollow, and it's so limiting. Why would you just want to be great again? How about make America better? Because despite our accomplishments standing in the world and history, there's always a lot of room for improvement because we are far from perfect. We had that promise of prosperity, of innovation, of exploration, of being pioneers, of being the shining example. You've seen how other uprising powers conduct themselves. Do you want them to be the hegemony? Yes, I know the word better is very broad. It could mean literally anything. When that's the beauty of it. How about education or community or economics, physical fitness, health, technology, art and creativity, culture, whether it be literature or music, or even spirituality? Being better, it should be inherent. It shouldn't be cheap and surface level and materialistic. It doesn't even have to be tangible. If you are willing to learn, you have an open mind, if you want to explore, you take advantage of the opportunities presented to you. If the society makes it easier to access those opportunities, access those amenities and businesses and stores, makes traveling easier. Just the basic necessities are more convenient, whether it be, I don't know, getting to the grocery store or accessing a doctor or seeing your tax dollars truly at work, or art and literature or music that really captures the human condition and emotions, education system that really actually teaches life skills that one can apply to the real world. Nothing against Algebra 2 or the quadratic formula. I would prefer to learn about budgeting and investing. How about being able to have critical thinking, or being able to determine what's fact or opinion? How about having a respect for education, being inquisitive, for wanting to obtain knowledge, to wanting to fully learn the truths of the world? One value that we place a high emphasis on is freedom. How about we just truly be free and not just constrained to our limited purchasing power and accessible to goods at our immediate vicinity, just only being a consumer or a worker or a cog in the machine? And freedom does not mean do whatever you want. There is still a social contract. There is still order. There is still a specific way to conduct yourself around others, but free thinking, like free possibilities, learning to analyze, learning to question, learning to criticize constructively. I forgot what class it was, but I learned about collectivism and individualism. Some countries lean towards one side of the spectrum, while others lean towards the other. How about meeting in the middle, because you don't want to be super stuffy that everything you do has to be for the benefit of society, and you gotta be stuck in your own norms, because there are many people who fall through the cracks, who don't fit, but there should still be a place for them. Of course, you're not so individualistic that you just do whatever whenever, and it's not the attention market where everyone is like, look at me, because that guy who is not a man, he currently embodies the negative aspects of this country: narcissism, willful ignorance, and hubris. The balance between collectivism and individualism provide people with opportunities to strive, to get ahead in life. Not necessarily always monetarily. To have things of value, maybe a loved one, maybe life experiences, physical fitness, creativity, health. It shouldn't be punitive. It shouldn't be too competitive. It shouldn't be dog eat dog. And it shouldn't be corrupt. It shouldn't be just the people who got theirs, they keep it and oppress and gatekeep all the good stuff in life from the rest of the population. To be honest, I am mainly just talking off the dome. There's literally no notes for this. It was just those two talking points. And I expected the episode to be a bit longer. Who knows? It may still be. But honestly, that dude, I hope to never hear from him again at some point in my life. Because honestly, he made this country worse and he has no redeeming qualities. No, comparison is not always good. The grass is not always greener. However, I've had the privilege to travel here and there. And when you travel, you go to other parts of the world. You see different communities and cultures. You see what's possible. You see positivity and culture and happiness and art and amenities and conveniences and socialization and community. Saying that our country doesn't have any of those. I'm sure all those other places I've been to have their own problems. Saying that, why can't we learn from those places? Why can't we learn from our own history? Why are we making the same mistakes over and over again? Why are we going in the opposite direction? Why are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Because we had it good, you know? We had the basic necessities and it was affordable and it was reasonable. We just decided to be all cute and corrupt about it and selfish or too experimental. Point that literally just came to my mind is that a man, or and I keep saying man, but we just talk about people in general for some of these points. They should be able to hold their own. So it all comes together to that point in the end. Everyone, man or woman or whatever gender, I don't even know anymore. You want to be able to get into a position where you can hold your own, that you have something to contribute, that there's something that others can learn from you, but there's things that you can learn from others, that you are friendly and social and have something to add to the conversation, add to the discourse, add to the discussion, add to the community. And I know there are many people who are still building themselves to the point to hold their own. I'm not saying that I can 100% hold my own, but I am in a better position now than when I was a teenager or my early or even my mid-20s. And holding your own, it's a godsend. It's a huge blessing. It makes you more confident and assertive. It makes things more clear. As you rely on your life experience, and it makes you kind of realize things will work out in the end, where things will be okay, or it makes you think harder that has to be alternative, better solutions to what's currently going on. It gives you a standing. It gives you a backup plan. It gives you a foundation, like maybe a plan B or a plan C in case something goes awry. Everyone, not just Americans, people all around the world, they want to get to a point in their life where they can hold their own. They're not super dependent or at the mercy of some greater power or being. That guy, he is not holding his own. I can guarantee that if no one else in the world cared about him, he would shrivel up and disappear and cry and whine. Now, attention is what he feeds on. The thing about attention, it's only constructed if there's an appropriate amount of attention, and if the attention is towards something worthwhile, constructive, applicable, not just a fad, not just a craze, not a cult, and not destructive. Another way to make us even better is empathy, caring, emotional intelligence. And I know I said those terms before. You come to realize that you're not the only person in this world. That your immediate community and surrounding circle of friends and peers or whatever, they're not the only people in this world. You're part of something bigger and it all connects. For example, there is a global supply chain for trade now because there's different materials from different parts of the world that are needed to make certain products, which are then sold to a different audience around the world. It's all connected. It's even in nature. There's like food chains. There's like the water cycle. There's ecosystems. It's all connected. If you isolate yourself, like, oh, I'm cool on my own. I'm good on my own. I don't need you. What can you do for me? Why don't you ever say thank you? That's a terrible attitude to have. And that is a very sad perspective because you're literally screwing over yourself. What you have to teach and offer, even if it's positive, you're just hoarding it to yourself. And because if you're doing it, others over there, they'll do it too. And in the end, no one learns from each other and everyone just suspects and hates each other. A man should at least consider fairness, justice, morality. I am very sure that dude does not have any of those thoughts cross his mind. The thing is, I don't know when he'll die, but he'll die happy. He'll die ignorant. He would die deluded, telling himself that he made a positive legacy on this world, when that is far from the case. Another thing people, not just men, should do. You want to leave a relative positive impact on the world. Unfortunately, some people don't have as many privileges and opportunities to do so. But if you do, it's like your responsibility to contribute, to leave a mark, to leave a legacy, to leave something that's worthwhile, monumental. My grandpa, he passed away, and he wasn't perfect. He lived a difficult life. At least two things he passed on to me were discipline and education. I see it in all my cousins. I see it in my aunts and uncles too, and my mom. Everyone is fortunate to leave behind an impact like that. I'm just saying, at least try. I want to leave this world and just be forgotten or be known as like some doofus, negative all the time and made everyone's lives miserable and anxious and on edge. Other ways for things to be better. Why can't we have cleanliness? Why can't we have organization? Why can't we have infrastructure that we take care of? Can we have just law enforcement? Why do we have to be put in a position where we are compelled to commit crimes? Because crimes are committed because the opportunity is not there, that you feel oppressed, you feel bored, you feel, I don't know, nihilistic, hedonistic. I'm not saying that being better means that you should be able to walk around and go out to eat whenever you want, have a bunch of stores and shops, and have public transportation to take you wherever you want. I'm saying that it's a alternative way. It's worth trying because it helps towards our human nature. We are meant to do things. We are meant to interact with each other. We're not meant to be put into cookie cutter suburbs where you gotta pay HOAs and then have strip malls and stroads. And life is already challenging enough. There is no need to make it even more punitive upon ourselves and others. Honestly, I'm not even trying to fill time. I guess I eventually found more things to talk about. But I made this on a whim, and I'm kind of tired, and I know this episode won't usually reach my 35 minute mark. That's okay. I said what I needed to say. So the two main points are that dude, he is not a man, and we should find ways to make not just America better, but the world better and ourselves better. Well, once again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.